Welcome to Nothing But Nets podcast the trading deadline passed about 2 hours ago, and the Brooklyn Nets and Sean Marks did absolutely nothing. Nothing to speak of. Zero. Zilch. No moves, no trades. Shams did report that the Nets are looking, and so did Eric Slater, that the Nets are looking to buy out Ben Simmons. That's too little, too late for me. I don't think we're going to get anyone in this panel. We're going to have some more panelists on shortly. Come join us. I don't think we're going to have anyone in this panel that wanted to keep Cam Johnson, but I'm just going to go around. We got everything BK Nets John as usual. We got my boy Pod Thorne. We got LBL. We got a full panel here. LBL, I just want to read the message that you sent to me. I guess it was either this morning or last night. And I had a feeling when these other guys were getting traded and the Nets weren't involved in any of this discussion, that this was going to happen today. Right? I said a couple of days ago, 55% chance that the Nets make no trade. But LBL, I'll let you go first. I'll be angry if Cam Johnson is still in my borough. Well, LBL, Cam Johnson is still in your borough. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think it was horrible, especially when you see what Memphis did. Especially when you see what Memphis did, who is a postseason team. You know, they're heading for the postseason, and they gave up Marcus Smart, right, and something else to get some seconds. And we could they gave up didn't they give up a first and Marcus Smart for a couple of seconds, and we could have gotten Ben Simmons. I mean, we could have gotten Cam Johnson for that or more, and it's like that's horrible. So when you see that kind of thing going on, it's just like, I can't believe that he really thinks he's worth more than a first. I don't think that that's the deal. I think there's something else going on. Like, I mean, obviously it's just he's stupid, but but beyond that, I think that, there's something else going on. Whereas, if he wants to build this team around Cam Johnson, it's just horrible. And I don't think that, and the thing that you said, and the one more thing I want to add before I go is you said that they're negotiating with Ben Simmons for the buyout, and I'm like, so where's the D'Lo buyout? Where's the and I'm saying, I'm a guy that, I have pictures. I put up pictures on all over social media with me with D'Lo. So it's not like I'm a D'Lo hater, but I'm saying he doesn't help the tank. So why are we holding on to D'Lo, who may be our best player left? Why are we doing that? It doesn't make sense.
Pod, I'm going to go to you next, my man. Your thoughts on this, on Marks doing nothing, Cam Johnson, Nick Claxton, Day'Ron Sharpe. Who did you want to see traded? Who did you want to keep? And just your overall thoughts on Sean Marks falling asleep behind the wheel. But before I get into that, Alan says, my Hawks cleared future salaries in Hunter, Bogey, and Zeller. Yep, Landry Fields, former Knicks legend, is the GM over in Atlanta. And that's what a GM does. He clears cap when his team is out of it. Atlanta's not even out of it, but you can see without Jalen Johnson, he's like, okay, we're going to battle for a pick here. Your thoughts on Marks doing the opposite of that?
The team doesn't have a direction. I mean, I've been saying for the past few weeks that Sean Marks wasn't going to pull off a trade. People thought I was crazy, but I know this guy. He's been here 8 years. He's predictable. He always overvalues assets. He squeezed the life out of Joe Harris's value. Remember? He held on to him. Like, let's say you have a player, and that player comes through your system and you beat him up. He's 6'8", 6'6", and you have him guarding power forwards. He's struggling out there. He gets injured, has surgery, has another surgery, but yet and still, because he was the three-point champion and the three-point and led the league in three-point shooting, the league overvalued him. But Sean Marks never used that to get a better player to close out the needs of a championship team. As much as Kevin Durant's pinky toe touching the three-point line and costing us, one of the things to cost us a finals appearance. I think that is nothing compared to Joe Harris missing so many shots. Sean Marks did not know to liquidate that asset. And when I'm arguing with people on why Sean Marks have to be fired, they think it's about one particular thing or how well he drafts or did he sign superstar. It's none of those things. It's the fact that no matter what he's doing, he doesn't know how to complete it. He doesn't know how to finish what the fuck he started. Excuse me, I'm
It's
cursing
all
on
good.
your
It's all
shows.
good. No, you're good, man. You're good. You're good. You're good. I like the passion today.
But to close out the point, the disappointment today is you're supposed to be building a team of young assets that you throw out there and you let them see what they could do with the coach. That's not what they're doing. They're using these vets that have nothing to do with the rebuild to just languish on the team and depreciate the possibility of us getting a top 3 draft pick. This is the year you had control. You traded back for your picks. You paid a premium for your picks, and now you're keeping elements on the team that's gonna ruin the chances of us getting these dudes. Sean Marks is an abomination. He has to go.
I agree. We're gonna get to that in a second. I'm gonna get to John next. I know John's surely a Sean Marks fan. He's gonna defend Sean Marks. I know that. But
Yep.
guys, please smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't. John, I know you're a Sean Marks defender. You're a Sean Marks truther. Surely you think keeping Cam Johnson and Nick Claxton and Day'Ron Sharp, all those guys at the deadline, was the right move, correct?
Oh, most definitely not. Gary LBL Pod, it's always great to talk fun basketball. They must talk fun basketball. You can follow me on my Twitter at OS91413 John. Listen, when I was a kid, one of my favorite shows every Saturday morning was Courage the Cowardly Dog. And looking back at that show, there's a character in it that makes complete sense on who Sean Marks is, and that character is Eustace Bagg. And one of his best famous lines he always used to say when somebody wants something to him is this: "What's your offer?" That is who Sean Marks was at this trade deadline. Unwilling, unrelenting in being flexible enough to want to meet a middle ground with anybody in this league because he wanted 2 first-round picks. It seems every player that's an asset, he wants the most he can get for it. Whereas you look at GMs like Jeff Peterson, who was his assistant, just had a masterful last 10 or 12 hours, trading away a center who's making a $4 million salary for 2 first-round picks and a prospect. $4 million, and he managed to have be part of one of the biggest deals of the deadline. Meanwhile, Sean Marks still has
And he's
Claxton and
successfully
Cam on this
tanking.
team. Yeah, and successfully tanking. You look at our whole season, this will go down probably as one of the worst tanks in NBA history. There's been no commitment this season. Look at the beginning of the season with allowing Jordy all this autonomy to do what he wanted with the veterans. Dennis Schroeder to be an all-star for 10 games, to win us 11 or 12 games. And then you trade Dennis Endo for a bag of Funyuns and some D'Lo jerseys, and the D'Lo move just backfired completely, winning us more games, which is not part of the process. And then we finally dropped to 4th best odds. We're tied with the Hornets, and then we start winning 3 games again, and now we're at 6th or 5th odds. Nothing has made sense about this season because Sean Marks doesn't have a clue of what's going on because his reputation has already been blown to bits. You had 3 superstars on this team who walked over you, did whatever they wanted, and then you traded for a role player who the first chance he got put your arm behind your head and said, "I'm going across the bridge, trade me now." And then a first-year head coach who says, "I'm not tanking, I'm doing whatever I want to do," and the best you could say is go for it. And now you look at all these NBA GMs who are watching this with popcorn in their hand, mind you, going, if these players, coaches don't respect the GM of that team, why should we do any business with you and give you exactly what you want? And that's all these NBA owners. They don't got to do nothing for you. They know you're repping what you're all about. And that is a huge problem going forward with Sean Marks. His reputation has already been damaged, and it seems like he's ready to repeat the same mistakes. Now you have 2 contracts on your team worth $20 million apiece. You have all these draft picks, and now you have a summer where you have to draft high and then maybe do something crazy. And it just feels like Sean Marks is going to do what he's always done: screw the pooch, and then say, I tried, but I have all these 1,000 cap lives, and that's just not how you're going to move as an organization.
I want to jump into this. You made an analogy. I want to make an analogy. Sean Marks is the chick who's like a 5 and thinks she's a 9, and 11 guys checked in, asked her if she wants to go to prom, and she said no, waiting for the quarterback of the football team to ask her, who's never going to ask you because you're a 5, and he's banging the head cheerleader, so he's never going to talk to you. That's Sean Marks. You got fair offers. You got reasonable offers. 11 teams checked in. Just pick the one you want, right, and go with it. You got 11 offers, apparently, for Cam Johnson. The Spurs were calling you up until the deadline about Cam Johnson, but you wanted to wait and get the captain of the football team who is never going to talk to you because you're a 4. That's why. That's what Sean Marks is. LBL, you said you got a doomsday scenario for me. I want to hear this.
Yeah. Now, and one other thing that I just thought of, like while like right after I said that I have a doomsday scenario, was even as John's saying that, Marks also is responsible for keeping Cam Johnson healthy from now until the end of the season. And if he tweaks that ankle or whatever, or he messes up his knee or something, his value goes down even more in the off season or at draft time. So that's a big responsibility because this guy has been hurt in almost every single year that he's been in the pros. So that's another problem. But that's not even the doomsday thing. The doomsday thing I'm saying is, and it's like a near doomsday like scenario, because what I'm thinking is, like how some people think, well, Sean Marks might know something that the 4 of us don't. Maybe he knows he's already he's tried to not tank, so maybe the league will reward him, and he'll get one of those top 3 guys, right? Now, the doomsday thing for real Nets fans is he gets one of these 3 guys, and then that means Sean Marks stays, and then we just never develop, because it's sort of like, like if he's rewarded with one of these 3 guys, all of these people who will come back on criticizing us and saying, see, you wanted to tank, see, you wanted to do this. Sean Marks knows what he's doing, and then Sean Marks gets another life, and then he gets to make this team horrible moving on into the future. It's like, he buys himself more time by being saved. Like the same scenario, Gary, that you said, well, KD and Kyrie kind of saved his legacy because them just wanting to be in the New York area and signing, people still credit Marks for signing KD and Kyrie as
Me
if
and
he
you
was
could
some
sign.
great GM.
Kyrie wanted to play here. KD wanted to play with
That's what I'm
Kyrie.
saying.
It
And
was
that's what
not.
I'm
Yeah,
saying.
this wasn't a
So I
master
feel like
sales.
this
Yeah.
so I feel like this will be the same scenario if we, by the grace of God, get one of these 3 guys in the draft. Then what's going to happen is they're going to say, oh, well, that means Marks can stay. And he's just, what they don't see, besides, like him not embracing the tank and doing the right things and all of this, or getting the most assets that he can, that he's just a horrible GM, regardless of whether we get Ace Bailey or Cooper Flag or whatever. He's a horrible GM, and it
If
kind
we
of
get
reminds
one of
me.
those guys, it's now because the NBA wants to hook us up because they
Yes,
want their big markets to have big stars,
and it
right?
kind
Because
of
we're not going to
reminds me.
finish in the bottom 3. Like
I'm a
on our
Yankee
own merit,
fan.
we didn't get there.
It's like I'm a Yankee fan, and I know as being a Yankee fan, it's like I've been wanting Aaron Boone off the team for like 5 years or whatever, and it's like every
Cashman's
year
the
that he
problem.
does something, it's like, oh no, Aaron Boone, he's a good guy. We still need to keep. It's like he's horrible. He's horrible. But you keep giving him another life because, oh, they made the playoffs, or oh, someone got hurt. So this is what I'm saying. That's the doomsday scenario for you. That we get one of the 3 guys, which is a good thing for us, but then we still get to keep this general manager for the foreseeable future.
I want to get. We got Leaf joining us. Our boy Dylan started a petition. I want to share this with everyone. If you go to, what is it? What is the website here? Is it change.org? Fire Sean Marks. Save the Brooklyn Nets. I don't know if anyone objects to this. I'm gonna ask if anyone has any objections to this.
I'm signing it. For sure.
I'm signing it too. Let's try to get to 100 before the end of this, right? I don't know how many signatures we need to get this on Josiah's desk, but let's get to 100, guys. Change.org. I'll put a link in the chat for you guys. I know you guys want to sign this, but well done, Dylan. Dylan, if you can jump on with us at any point, I know you're busy today. Please do. But your petition here is greatly appreciated. Leaf, we haven't heard from you yet. Jump in on your thoughts on the Nets doing nothing at the deadline.
Well, I mean, I kind of knew this was going to happen. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of people losing their jobs, but this change.org thing, I'm signing that 4 years ago. I'll be honest with you. Like I'm signing that back in 2020. I don't even care. You know what I'm saying? So listen, Sean Marks has been everything that y'all all have said that he was, man. He's Dylan has kicked up a lot of dust, man, and he said he's fallen in love with these role players. We all know that to be a fact. He's done a lot of incompetent stuff, man. He hasn't really in the trade market. He's been known to get fleeced, but still in all, I still believe, no matter what, we will come out of this draft with everything that we want. At this point, it really don't even matter about the picks to me anymore. It don't even matter about what's going to happen to me anymore. I think we're going to come out of this draft with anything we want. Still in all, I still do want Sean Marks up out of here. Well, with that being spoken, with that being said, but I mean, I'm willing to let him do one more draft. I mean, I'm willing to let him at least do that, man, before he get his ass up out of here. But I'm on board, man.
Been the issue. Yeah, my concern is he's going to trade all of these picks that we've accumulated for Julius Randle or something like that.
No.
That's my concern. Is that he's going to do
Gary,
this.
Gary. What I will say is, I'm gonna at least do what he is at least a B minus, a C plus to a B minus at, and that's drafting. In terms of the
That's where
trades,
you're wrong. Jeff Peterson was doing the drafting.
He makes a good point. He makes how do you feel about that, Leaf? That he's not actually.
hey, listen, listen. Hey, if he's not, then he's not. But at the same time,
look what Jeff Peterson has done. If he's not, deadline. Then he's like, you see it. He's a first year GM, and he's run rings around Sean Marks.
Circles.
It shows you the good things that we were doing.
Yes.
That was him. That was Jeff.
Listen.
Not Sean Marks.
Oh, okay. Look. That's all fine and said, be done. But listen, but at the same time, all we could do is sign a petition and hope that him and he's out of here, and hopefully we get somebody to fill the position and do what's right by the Brooklyn Nets, man. I mean, look, I'm still sold that we gonna get whatever we want out of this damn draft, man. I don't Sean Marks or no Sean Marks, man. I don't care about none of that. But to be honest with you,
not if we go on another 3-game winning streak.
Yeah, and Leaf, this is the thing people aren't thinking about. Because Gary asked to open up the show, like, you look at Cam Johnson, he's 28 years old, going to be 29 in, I think, like 5 days. Next year, he'll be 30. Like, some people think that this guy has a Klay Thompson run in him, but at the end of the day, all it takes is one injury, just like Pod said, or was it LBL, that you have to treat Johnson now as broken glass. All it takes is one little tweak of the ankle, and you're going to get nothing from him going forward. Like, maybe draft night, you could try again, but after draft night, if you're still on this team, what are the options? Keep this guy, so if we draft Ace, he's on the bench, giving us 13, 10 points a night, makes his value even worse in the crapper. And then you're trading for second-round picks, or, by gosh, you have to attach second-round picks to get off of Johnson's contract. And Marks will say, that was a great move I did. No, it isn't. And here's the thing people aren't thinking about. If we do draft the top 3 pick, the doomsday scenario LBL says, Sean Marks wants to get superstars. The one thing that has been prevalent throughout all these sources is that he has his eyes set on Giannis, the big white whale that he wants to be on this team with a said prospect and just go for it. But even then, what's the depth going to be? Sean Marks has shown you he is horrible at getting depth pieces to have a balanced team. He relies on riding on superstars to carry you all the way, and that's a problem.
We saw that when he kept Patty Mills over Bruce Brown. He can't. 40-year-old Blake Griffin, DeAndre Bembry, he can't build a roster. We know that for sure. I want to address this. 13-year-old Connor Long, who's in middle school, is already done with Sean Marks. He's had it. He doesn't even have enough years on this earth to be heartbroken like I am as a Nets fan.
I mean, he just hit the teenage phase, bro. Like he already done.
Half his life, though, he's known.
He only knows failure.
I mean, but he said he only knows failure. Like, well, yeah, you're absolutely right about that. But I mean, he's been alive just as long as we've been in Brooklyn, man. I mean, so I mean, listen. All I'm gonna say is this, man. Look, I'm confident by when this season is over and when the draft lottery hits, bro. Like we're gonna be right where we want to be. I really don't give a damn. I'm not blowing my head up about this anymore, bro. Like I'm confident in that.
I gotta ask you a question because I hear you saying that you're confident, you know, in that some things will work out for us, regardless of what Marks is doing. But my question is, doesn't it concern you that he may like certain types of players and not like other types of players? That's
wait, is my went out?
You can hear me?
I think my mic might have went out. Hold on. I might have to get on it.
The irresponsible.
Nah, I didn't hear
LBL.
I didn't hear LB.
The irresponsible thing, LBL, is that this team, this roster, is the worst roster in the NBA. And in all of this year, knowing he has the worst roster in the NBA, and the only thing he should be doing is collecting young assets, he did not liquidate the veteran assets to acquire any young players that he could throw out there to watch develop. We're watching journeymen, glue guys, and dudes who's
Walmart
not in the NBA going forward. This is a disaster. I don't think anyone has really encapsulated how bad this is for the team that has the worst roster in the NBA to not turn an asset into young players. That's we should be suing him for GM malpractice.
The problem is
Connor raises this point. I want to watch Keon Johnson play over 30 minutes, and then someone else put the stats in there. Keon, here it is. It was Derek Jones. Keon shoots like 30% from the field. Zaire finishes sub 39%. He shoots less than 40% at the rim. Zaire. These are garbage time players. These are Zaire Williams. He's probably an NBA player. Keon Johnson, Jalen Wilson. I'm not sure they're NBA players. Tosan from Walmart. I mean, I don't even know where he came from. These are the guys that we have.
G League MVP.
These are the guys we have on the court in closing time. Like,
but Gary,
this is the worst roster in basketball. They shouldn't be winning games. Yeah,
but Gary, these are also the guys that on multiple other platforms, guys are saying, no, I like him. He's good. No, I like him. He's good. No, we need to move forward with Zaire. These are guys that a lot of Nets fans, you know, actually think are good players, and it makes me question them. So, you know,
here's my point. Like,
it's flawed judgment. They see a mediocre player on a bad team, and they see him work hard and do gritty things, and they get sentimental about these players. The problem with doing that is you're impeding the team from adding actual good players. Look at the talent on these teams. I'm not even talking about OKC, the Rockets. I'm talking about Detroit. Fuck, I'm talking about DC. Did you see those young guys they had running around? They're deep. Koulibaly, Sarr.
Yeah.
We don't have the Nets do not have players like that. So the Sean Marks thing is a bigger problem than y'all even understand. And worse, because of the landscape, because so many teams are tanking, our record with a player like Cam Johnson, which does nothing for us, having Cam Johnson out there, we're gonna win games we shouldn't be winning at all.
And there lies the problem, Pod, in that Coach Jordy has a lot more time than he should. He's making these guys who are spare parts, like I said on multiple shows. He makes these spare parts like Rolls Royce. I mean, Reese Beekman, Tucson Ewumon from Walmart, Zaire Williams. These guys will not play huge roles on multiple contending teams. They will be third stringers, and he's got these guys buying into his system. Shout out to Jordy for that. But at the same time, Jordy, you don't want to tank clearly, but you're making these guys look better than they should. And now people say, like, you know what? If Jordy can make those guys look good, they could be huge parts for our future. No! Our whole point was to tank and acquire assets.
Gary, I have a question for you.
Let me go around the pod. I want to ask this question. What's up? What's up, Pod?
I wanted to ask you this question. What do you think is at the core of winning championships? Culture, morality, whatever you want to call that?
Yeah,
or talent? Which
I think
one?
it's having
All three.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's.
But which one is
that?
Which? I don't care how many Boy Scouts you have on your team. If you don't have talent, you're not gonna win.
Yeah, like Boston and Miami have the best culture in the world. If Miami didn't have LeBron James and Dwayne Wade, they ain't winning. If Boston didn't have Tatum and Brown,
you don't have Shaq and Dwayne Wade, you're not winning.
It's true. We can talk about culture all you want. You don't have Steph Curry and Draymond Green and Klay Thompson. You're not winning. Like that's it. All right. I wanted to ask this question. Just to kind of make a point on how bad the Nets roster is. 2 years from now, 2 seasons from now, so to start the 27-28 season, how many people on this roster do you still want on that team? I'm going to say just 2, Cam Thomas and Noah Clowney.
Zero.
Yeah.
Zero.
I would say Thomas. I would say Thomas and Clowney, but I wouldn't be surprised if 0 are here in 3-4.
How many do you want? You want 2? You want to keep Thomas and Clowney and everyone else goes?
Yeah, because they could actually develop a bit more. Yeah.
2-0 LBL Pod. What do you got? How many guys do you even want to keep on this roster 2 years from now?
I'd say
I don't even. Oh, LBL, you're going. Go. Sorry.
Oh no, it's all right. I was gonna say I have to see more of him, but I would say Clowney and basically that's it. But I'm not even sure if he's gonna be a starter.
Yeah.
So we have 1, 2, or 0 guys. No one here wants to keep more than 2 guys on this roster.
Clowney is already getting hurt, and Cam Thomas, Dylan already put him on blast yesterday. He was just when he finally started getting 30-something minutes a game, he started getting hurt, and his development, in terms of an all-around type of player, in terms of like a multi-dimensional type of guard at 6'2", is not working, bro. Get them all out of here, bro. I want 2 years. You start fixing this roster up, or put somebody in place to fix this roster up. Other than that, man, this is a shit show. Like PT is saying, this is an absolute crap show, bro. Like all of y'all thinking in your minds. I can see it on John's face. It's absolute disgusting. It tastes like goddamn red apple cider vinegar. It's garbage, but it's not even healthy for you. Just get them all up out of here, bro. This is what I keep trying to tell Breezy. He start to believe in every little fish that comes through the weep hole, bro. Like, and then and any little 2-game win streak we go on, and then the next 10 games we lose. Yo, these dudes could play. Stop telling me about Tosan, bro. This dude is a journeyman, bro. Like we didn't even know where he was 2 years ago, bro. To get this kid back overseas, he is not playing on no damn 50-win team. That's what we're trying to create. This is a shit show. It's garbage in, garbage out. The only thing I can say about this is we not racking up 60 lost seasons, bro, like the Tangerines is doing all in Manhattan. That's the only thing about it.
Let me bring Pete in. Pete, welcome. Let us know where we can find you. Do a little commercial. We're just talking 2 questions for you. How do you feel about Marks doing nothing at the deadline? And how many players on this roster would you still want to be here in 2 years from now? So to start the 27-28 seasons, how many guys on this current roster would you still want in a Brooklyn Nets uniform?
First of all, do a little promo. My name's Pete. I run the podcast Net Fans You Know. You could find me at Net Fans You Know on Twitter and YouTube. And I also want to throw a shout out to Podthorn. Put out a book. You guys should check that out. What was the first question about how many about Marks or about players next year?
Yeah, either one. Start. I want you to answer both, but you can start with either one.
I'm actually I don't know if I'm in like just a fighting mood today, but I'm not as mad as I thought I would be, and I want to tell you guys why. I think a lot of this, I talked to a couple people in the media, and I kind of got a common feeling that a lot of this was based on the tax. If you can't find a deal that you're going to get picks back and be under the tax, then going over the tax to get a couple draft picks will benefit. Not benefit, will hurt the team more long term because you're going to wind up losing the draft pick. If I think they have to go under the tax. 1 second, Leaf. If you go under the tax this year, I think it resets. If they go over this year, 7 years down the line, that draft pick automatically drops all the way down. I think it becomes like the overall pick, something like that.
No, it's so if they get out of it this year, they avoid the repeater.
That's what it is.
Right? And so you definitely want to be under the tax so that it resets and you can go over it a couple of years without taking the penalties they would if they went over it this year or next. If they could be under the cap the next 2 years, I believe, don't take my word for it, it resets. And then at an opportune time, which it does make sense, but this is what we do. This is what we do, Pete. We found a strategy that Sean Marks is not even thinking, and we justify the bullshit he does.
But
we're never able to use it, bro, because Sean Marks is the absolute buffoon, and then we're stuck with our own ideas in our heads and on these podcasts. But go ahead, Pete.
But doesn't that make sense if you want to avoid the repeater tax? Because the penalties of the repeater tax is getting away from those like penalties.
But why do you have to take contracts back? You have an asset that has value. The problem what really happened is Sean Marks didn't change with last year, and you were trading Cam Johnson, that value was right. But with the new CBA and everyone beginning to understand, look how many players went for a player and 1 pick. Nobody was getting 2 picks.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean? I think he read the market wrong. He was right. He wants to keep the flexibility. He doesn't want to take on cap space. But where he fucked up is he could have gotten a young player and a pick or something that was expiring as well and kept it moving, but he overvalued Cam Johnson. Now we have to tell ourselves this story, which makes sense. It's a good one.
But it does make sense though. That's my it's like, well, if you can't get the draft pick that you wanted or a young player and you avoid the penalties, it makes a lot of sense to me. I hate to
Pete, take the 50,000-foot view. And this is a question to you more than I'm responding. From the 50,000-foot view, if your job was to accumulate as much good young assets as you can and to let those guys experience in a tank, did he accomplish that?
But that's not his job. His job is to build a long-term winner. And sometimes building a long-term winner, you hold on to a Cam Johnson to avoid the penalties, and maybe you can get a deal that you like in the offseason when there's a lot less restrictions.
So what penalties we talking about?
The repeater tax.
It's the salary cap aprons.
Yeah,
so if you go over the apron, we went over the apron last year. If you go over the apron,
how did we go over the apron last year? How did we do that?
Because we had Ben Simmons and Mikal.
Yeah.
Okay, Ben Simmons and Mikal. Who else?
I can't remember the whole
lot. Cam Johnson.
But Pete, we couldn't have traded Cam Johnson to Memphis for Marcus Smart and a pick.
You clearly could have.
Is he an expiring?
Clearly you could have.
But is he an expiring though?
Marcus Smart has 1 year left after this, and then he's got 1 year left.
Then it kind of makes Pete's thing kind of makes sense. If you take back Marcus Smart, right? And I'm not trying to save Sean Marks here, but if you take back Marcus Smart, then you're above the apron because you're still gonna get taxed for Ben this year. You have Ben, you have Clax, and you have Ben Clax and who's the Cam Johnson. So you have all that money.
I got Marcus Smart makes $1.5 million less than Memphis. Memphis had cap space. You could have made that trade and actually saved $1.5 million.
I got a rebuttal for that.
All right, go ahead.
If you guys remember, Dorian Finney-Smith was supposed to go to Memphis. That caused a lot of drama when the Lakers wanted coming in and swooping him in the last minute. Supposedly Memphis was pissed about that. I don't know if that's a real thing or not, but it would make sense to me, bro.
It doesn't to me because deals like in the NBA, things like that happens all the time. If every GM that has happened to, it wouldn't. No trades would happen ever. They have to take those hits and move on because you have to come back and do business with these dudes.
Maybe Memphis like the other deal. I don't know. You know what I mean?
They wanted too much.
They didn't get anything for him, Pete.
They didn't change with the market. They're not. Sean Marks is thinking in the last CBA. He's not thinking in this CBA. He's not seeing that you're not gonna. You paid the dude. What is he? 27 mil, and it isn't de-escalating. It goes down next year, but the year after that is back to 27 mil.
It goes. I don't have it right in front of me, but the first I think the first year was high, second year's low, third year's went lower, and the fourth year goes back up, something like that.
Yeah. Who wants to carry that contract going forward for a journeyman? So his value wasn't what Sean Marks thought it was.
Is he a journeyman or is he a 20-point scorer with shooting 40%?
He's a journeyman.
Journeyman.
He's a journeyman that has.
How many years has he been in the league? How many years
like 6 years now? He's been in the league. It's like year 6. How many years? It's 6. Is year 6 for him?
Yeah, he's never gonna make an All-Star game. He's not even gonna get voted in.
Pete, what's his second highest scoring average?
I don't know, but I'm saying if he's a journeyman, why would people want him then?
He's not who he is now.
I agree.
Can I just address that? Let me address that. So in his career, hang on. He's averaged 8.8, 9.6. I'm going in order here from his rookie year 1920 on. 8.8, 9.6, 12.5, 13.4, and then this year 19.3.
You see?
Pete, he is what I made this analogy before. He's the chick who's a 4 who got guys that asked her to the prom, but he's waiting for the quarterback of the football team to come ask her to the prom. No one likes him. No one likes Cam Johnson that much. He is what he is. He's a guy that can stand on the wing and shoot threes, and he's 6'8". That's what he is. He
and
doesn't
almost
have
all of those
that kind of value.
And almost all those guys that were in rumors, either for him or in place of him, like other teams would say, well, I'm going to pivot from Cam and I'm going to get this guy. Like all of those guys like Kyle Kuzma and all of them are better players. All of them are way better players than him.
Pete, let me ask you this. What do you think fair market value is for Cam Johnson? If you were going to put him on the trade market, what do you think you could realistically get for him?
They said before it was going to be like 2 first-round picks, a first-round pick. I definitely think he's worth more than a second-round pick. I would take a first-round pick. I would have done the Memphis deal if that was offered. We don't know, what was going on. I hate defending Sean Marks. Don't get me wrong here, but I'm hearing the same thing from a couple of people, so it just leads me to believe that that makes sense. It just makes sense. I talk to the people I talk to, like.
You know what never made sense, Pete?
A salary dump and a first rounder is what you think Cam Johnson is worth, right? I mean, we're all kind of on the same page here.
Yeah.
If you could have got a first and Karis LeVert, something like that from Cleveland,
I would have done it in a heartbeat.
Okay.
So that
Karis LeVert was traded today.
Yep. Yeah, you could have got this done, but Sean Marks thinks that Cam Johnson is like peak Klay Thompson or something like that. He's not worth he doesn't have that value to the league. He's a guy that you can use. He has a role, but that's all he is. He's not anything. He's a guy on a good team that's going to average 12 points a game and have a small role in their offense and have a 15% usage percentage. He's Joe Harris. When Joe Harris was on the Nets and when the Nets were good, that's what he is. It's not worth 2 first rounders.
And I gotta say something since you mentioned Karis LeVert being traded to Atlanta. I gotta say that I was if I'm Trey Young, I'm glad they finally got off of that was one of the worst picks ever to me, Hunter. And it's like to me, Karis LeVert is still a better player than Hunter. They may have said that we want Hunter for this specific reason to be a three stopper or whatever, but uh he's not better than Karis LeVert as a player.
Trey Young's on
I
the
want
trade block now, LBL, after that, just so you know.
we mentioned Trey Young.
Nah.
Someone in the comments mentioned Zion. I want to raise this question: Is Marks? And I want to go around the panel. Everyone, give me. I'll start with Leaf because we haven't heard from Leaf. Is Sean Marks saving Cam Johnson to trade as a piece for an all-star or a superstar in the offseason? Is that why he didn't want to move off of Cam so he can use him as a piece to trade for a big name in the offseason? I want to hear from everyone but Leaf. You go first. Leaf. All right.
Diggy.
All right.
Bathroom break.
Yo, my bad,
Oh, there you
my
go.
bad. I
Oh,
had to
good.
walk away for a minute. What was the question?
Did Marks not trade Cam Johnson? Did he keep Cam Johnson because he wants to trade him for an all-star or a superstar, maybe Zion, maybe Giannis, maybe Trey, something like that in the offseason? Is he planning on moving Cam Johnson for an all-star or superstar caliber player in the offseason?
It's a possibility. He could be in a package. It's a possibility that that could happen. And I mean, I'm not ruling it out, but Um, in order for it to get done, I got to see it get done under Sean Marks because when it comes to the trade market, I could see the look on John's face that when it comes to trades and Sean Marks, that shit is somewhat like oil and water. I'm like it's not too good of a thing. So if he could pull something off, man, before he's out on his ass on the unemployment line, bro, like I'll be happy that he left us with at least that. But he'll be able to get some stock back up. But other than that, I'm with PT and John, man. I don't really have no faith that he could pull anything off without a superstar definitively saying yes, we will come to the Brooklyn Nets. So
If they got Cam Thomas on a team-friendly deal, which it looks like they're going to because there's just not a lot of cap space out there for other teams. So they got Cam Thomas, Cam Johnson, and some picks. Do you think that's PT? Do you think that's a reason why Cam Johnson didn't get moved at the deadlines because he's waiting for a bigger trade in the offseason?
I think he's that dumb.
That's what I'm saying. Like we're underestimating his dumbness, but go ahead.
Yeah,
Continue.
like he could be doing that. I mean, if you look at the free agent list for next year, everybody seems locked in. Like Luka is the example that no one is looking at. If you're a guy who signs a big contract and then or is expecting a big contract coming up, if you get traded, you can't get the same contract that you could get before. Luka used to be able to get 350 million. He can't get that contract anymore because he got traded and it wasn't even his choice.
Yeah.
So who are they gonna get that's going to be willing to take that hit and get traded before they get their money? Right? Like I don't see anybody coming up. I see people in 2026, but as of 2025, I don't see anybody. You have all of 2025 and 2026 to use your cap space to gather assets, to accumulate assets. But that's not what he's doing. And I think it has something to do with the fact that he thinks he's going to sign a bunch of free agents. He's going to try to, skip steps, and he's going to fuck this whole thing up. So, yeah, it maybe he is. I don't know, but I think Sean Marks' mind is in 2019. It's not that league anymore. It's a completely different CBA. The value is in the draft picks. The draft picks have way more value than they did even last year. Not just because of the players, but because of the CBA. Everyone's trying to get under the apron. Teams were paying draft picks to get under the apron because of what that lets you do economically. Understand, when you go over the apron, you have to pay twice, and then you go over the second apron. Now you're paying 3 times for every dollar you spend. So that is so punishing that making these trades, this new NBA is structured to give the power back to the teams. And I don't, and again, Sean Marks, if that's the strategy, he doesn't understand what's happening. He doesn't understand the new fiscal landscape of the NBA. It's that's disheartening if it's true.
LBL, I haven't heard from you on this. I know you're against trading for a superstar this offseason, but I mean, I'm not asking you if you're for. I mean, do you think that's Sean Marks' train of thought? Like, I'm going to re-sign Cam Thomas to a team-friendly deal, package him with Cam Johnson, and get a superstar. Do you think that's his thought pattern? And is that why Cam Johnson is still here?
Well, if he does, we have to look at the prospective people that are out there, and I'm not sure if we have a player, never mind more than one, but if we have a player who's actually worth it, then like that the Bucks will take back for Giannis, that the OKC will take back for Shea, that the Timberwolves will take back for Anthony Edwards. Like, I'm not sure if we even have that type of player, because look, no one's been even an all-star. You know what I'm saying? So and then the thing is, if he is holding that for that, one of the things that I mentioned before is going to pop up again, where we have to make sure these guys stay healthy for the next 30 something games and play, because otherwise, how do you sell that? If you're Milwaukee, how do you sell moving the face of your franchise? All of those guys are the faces of the franchise. How do you sell that to your season ticket holders that you got Cam Thompson? I mean, you got Cam Thomas, and he averaged 25 games. He averaged 25 a game for like 30 games. I mean, like, how do you sell that to your? I don't.
Well, the good news for Sean Marks is he only has about 800 season ticket holders, so it's not going to be that hard. It's not. You
No,
I mean,
no, I'm saying the other team.
I get you. Yeah, I get you.
So I'm saying the other team. How do you sell that to them? Because because in the end, because one thing that I'm glad that Pod mentioned Luka, because one thing that we did see is that he went from overnight. He went from the 6th most selling jersey to the number 1 selling jersey. So stuff like that does matter. So like what I'm saying is, and that would be the same thing if we got Giannis or something like that. But I'm saying, how does Milwaukee turn around? How do they face their own fans after that? I don't think it's really possible. So I don't think we'll see that.
I want to someone, and I'm going to bring to John first because we haven't heard from John. Luke and Gary, can you pull up the team payrolls? Let's see realistically who's here in a couple of years and who's worth resigning. So I have it pulled up here. You guys can see this is the salaries looking at next year. Basically, we have 46 million, we'll call it, tied up in Claxton and CJ. Zaire for 8, possibly. Cam Thomas, we're going to have to resign. So let's say we give him 30. After that, we don't really have any other salaries, right? So we're going to have 56, probably 85 million tied up in Claxton, Cam Johnson, and Cam Thomas. I don't think that's ideal, but where do we go from here? Like, what do you guys want to do? There's $100 million left in cap money. What do you guys want to do with that money after we resign Cam Thomas?
We are in a mess right now. There's no other way to say it, and this is due to Sean Marks. When we're talking about trying to not be in the repeaters tax, that's because of Ben Simmons. Because Sean Marks thought getting Ben Simmons on his team would make us better, when in fact screwed us over multiple times. So we had no real cap space flexibility until we have the chance to buy him out now. Which thankfully, buy Ben, see you never. But that's just another huge Sean Marks error that we're still paying for now. Looking at where do we go from here this summer, I mean, we could try to draft high, and then you have this unlimited cap space. You have 31 picks, so what are you going to do with that? And it just kind of feels like a rerun. I'm watching D'Lo and the Misfits from 2019, except these guys are way worse. These are third stringers now with D'Lo, and they're acting like they're doing something special when they're not doing anything. So now what happens after that? Sean Marks does what he always does: wait for the big star to be available, throw the bag, throw the picks, and it just feels like he's going to get a superstar through trade. I think free agency market is drying up this year. and next year now with De'Aaron and Luka potentially being off the board. So the best way Mark's probably going to go about this is consolidate, contracts this summer. Probably use the cap space to sign some bad players, some money that he always likes to hand out. And then when the time is right, let's say Giannis stays with the Bucks next summer or next season to start out, and they do really bad. I could see a scenario next deadline where the bad contracts he signed this summer, you pair those with a Johnson, Claxton, and picks. Hey, Giannis is on our team going into next year's deadline. And after that, who knows what our team will be at that point. But this is just what Marks does. He doesn't have a set plan. There is no vision. Just when you thought we traded those Suns picks, oh, man, why did we trade those Suns picks? We traded those Suns picks for our own picks. You thought we're going to do things right. We're going to have a coach and a GM and an owner on the same game plan. And so far this season, Jordy doesn't want to do anything they want to do, and they are too cowardly. I'm going to say the word. They're too cowardly to do anything about it because they don't want to ruin their reputation as being goody two-shoes in the eyes of whoever they do business with. I don't think that's a good way to do things because it seems like Jordy is running the way he's doing it, and these guys are all doing what he wants to do, and the owners are just watching this all happen. And I just don't see how that's benefited us because it's just allowing Sean Marks to do what he always does, make the same mistakes and expect different results. So who knows what's going to happen, Gary, but I just feel like Giannis is who Sean Marks is waiting for. And if we get him, the timeline could be 2 to 3 years, and we either live with that or Sean Marks eventually gets fired or we actually hire a manager who knows what the hell they're doing.
Pete, I want to bring you in, Pete. I haven't heard from you in a minute, Pete.
I have a question. Maybe Pete can answer this as well. I'm sorry to cut you off, but don't we have to lowball Cam Thomas? Like, don't we have to wait for him to go out there and get whatever deal he wants so that way we're not in danger of, overpaying him and then not being able to move him if we get his replacement in the draft?
That's not a lowball though. That's letting the market.
I mean, yeah,
speak.
that's what I mean.
It's just not a great year to be a free agent, but that's what the market's going to decide.
That is what we have to do, right?
Yeah. Agreed.
It's 100% what you have to do. You have to be ruthless.
Yeah.
You have to be ruthless. Like Danny Ainge is ruthless.
It's a business.
Jeff Peterson is ruthless. Jeff Peterson is ruthless too.
Let me bring Pete in. Pete, same question I asked John. We went over the net salary. Let's say Cam gets about 28. You're going to have about 85 million or so tied up in those three guys. And other than that, you don't really have any salaries. You got a bunch of rookie deals and low deals. What are they going to spend the money on this off? You got to spend the money. They're going to have about $100 million in free cap space. What are they spending the money on, Pete?
Well, I'm going to just say one thing that John said, that Sean Marks is going to just throw out money. If you think about this, has Sean Marks really overpaid for a free agent going from another team to the Nets? Like completely just overpaid a guy, and now we're completely stuck with him. He really hasn't. Where Sean Marks gets burned is when he's about to lose an asset like a James Harden, like a Nick Claxton, like a CJ for nothing, and he winds up putting himself in a bad position and either making a bad deal, signing a bad contract, and whatnot. So I'm not too concerned about him spending money in free agency.
I could have sworn he gave Alan Crabb some crazy money some years back. But
that was a trade. That was a trade, keep in mind. Yes, he offered him the contract, but Portland matched, and then we wound up trading for him. That was a bad trade, absolutely. But as a free agent, he hasn't. When you don't have draft picks, you have to overpay these guys when you don't have draft picks, and that's what he was trying to do back then. There's a totally different situation, and with CT, you can look over there. The qualifying offers up over there. I think CT would sign that. Because either CT is going to be lowballed with a low per year offer for 3-4 years, or he takes a 1-year deal and then he'll be a total free agent and he can make his own market. Because I don't think anyone's going to be putting out a deal for him in restricted free agency, which the Nets would probably match anyway, right? Because why are you going to let your best young talent leave for nothing?
Yeah, it's
the only team that could throw out money is the Warriors with the only team that could throw out money is the Warriors with like 40 mil, but I don't think they're going to do it. They have a system. They're already building guys, so it wouldn't make sense. Yeah. So it's really Sean Marks in control here.
Jimmy $60 million. They're way
Yeah,
over
so
the
really,
cap.
Sean Marks is in control. But like Pete said, he could opt to not want to take the offer and say, "I'll bet on myself. Give me another year." And then you have 2026, which is looking like a better free agent market than this one this summer. Maybe we can renegotiate. But still, imagine that he does take the qualifying offer and Marks just trades him next year. Like for all you Cam Thomas fans out there, I would not trust Sean Marks with Cam Thomas's future. Just saying after what's starting to transpire here, but that's what it feels like. It feels like he's waiting for the next superstar. And Cam Thomas, as much as people love him, he is a big asset if he signs a contract that Marks will use likely to get a superstar. It's
No, I
unfortunate,
agree.
but
I
John
think
Marks,
he's
it's
using
how he does business, unfortunately.
I think he's using Cam Thomas as a trading, and I love Cam Thomas. I'm not advocating for this, but I think he's going to try to sign Cam Thomas on a team-friendly deal because it's a bad year to be a free agent. There's no one with cap space, and then he's going to lock him up 4 years on a team-friendly deal and then trade him. I honestly believe that because it'll be a good contract. The question, and I got to take a leak, so I'm going to let you guys debate this out. Nick Claxton didn't get moved. There was rumors about him going to LA. LA got a far better center than Nick Claxton. But my question is there a market for Claxton? If you go back to this past offseason, they all ranked Claxton as the only net in the top 75 players, top 100 players in the league. Claxton was the only net in that group. Is there still a market for Nick Claxton, or has he played himself out of any value, and everyone will now just look at his contract as an untradeable piece? Guys, you guys debate that amongst yourselves.
Not at what we paid him. He's going to be really hard to move at what we paid him. And players that are in the middle like this aren't supposed to get these type of contracts with the new CBA. The new CBA doesn't let you have the luxury of having these players that aren't that good, that aren't difference makers.
Starters, right? They're starters.
What did you say?
I said they're marginal starters.
Right. Exactly. You can't pay them that much because then you can't pay your superstars that much. This deal Chris Paul has negotiated in the new CBA, I don't think he realized how much it gives the power back to the owners. They traded Luka. like you saw Anthony Davis, sad-faced clown, walking into Dallas. Like the owners took back the power, and we are kind of set up wrong. We're giving all these mediocre players $27 million.
Yeah.
I just don't see how anybody wants this guy when he's really a backup center. And if you have a good contending team, you really want to pay this guy $20 million. If he's just going to give you defensive stuff here and there, offensively, we all know he just can't do it by himself. He needs a point guard to do 90% of the work for him. But there are a lot of teams right now who are kind of set, like Dallas and some of these other teams. The Hawks, Capella, he's now no longer an option free agent. The Pelicans are probably the one team in this whole league right now that really needs a center badly, but they got the Zion thing. I know most of you don't want to even go anywhere near Zion, but that's the situation Marks has put us in. The only team that can really give us an out right now with Claxton is the Pelicans because they have no center right now, but you probably have to take on Zion, and that's a can of worms I know a lot of people are going to be very apprehensive of doing, but this is what Marks does. He puts us in log jams, and the best solutions are the ones that have baggage, like Ben Simmons.
John, I'm glad you brought up Zion because that's what I think he could possibly be doing. He could be holding on to Cam Johnson because he knows, at the draft he's going to be able to trade a package for Zion, and he might be able to get him for pennies on the dollar. Now, again,
Did they move
dude.
Ingram?
Yeah, to Toronto. To Toronto, they did.
Good. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I could see it being a player like that, and Zion's eyes light up every time you say New York,
right?
And I holding on to this asset, I can't see what you would do with it, but I could see like them knowing ahead of time that they're going to be able to trade for him, and they're going to need a contract to trade for him. So that could make sense.
Well, that's what me and Gary talked about, the plan A and plan B, Pandora's box scenarios, A being Giannis, but Zion is somebody that when they asked him recently about what are the best markets, and right out of his mouth, Brooklyn. I love the music. I love all the culture and all that. You didn't talk about food, thankfully, but still, at the end of the day, Zion, there's such a risk factor with the hamstrings, with his ability to be conditioned. You saw with Luka, just because the guy's not well conditioned, it's easy to throw him to the Wolves or a different team. But with Zion, in his situation, he just hasn't been able to be healthy for the longest stretches of periods of time. So if you could consolidate a Claxton, Johnson, 2 picks like Gary proposed, that's something I guess you could throw out there for Zion. But at the end of the day, you're also
Well, they got
gambling at the same
31 picks.
time.
They got the assets to do it.
But
They
I
got the assets to
see.
do it. They're
I'd
probably
be
gonna have to put a couple of these players together.
yeah. I'd be
I don't
willing
think
to
it's a
give
great
them all
idea,
three.
but
I'd be
if
willing
you
to give
could
them
get him
all
for
three.
pennies on the dollar, his value is never gonna be any lower. And the only thing is, you get Zion in the summer, then you're not tanking.
Right.
But
But
New
were we
Orleans
ever
figured out a
tanking?
way to
But were
tank.
we ever tanking though? Is the thing, Potter. Were we ever
But see,
tanking? Doesn't feel like it.
but John, see, I would give up both cams, and I would give up both cams. I would probably give up both cams, Clowney, and Claxton, Zion. But the thing is, I
I
still
don't think
want to
you have
hold
to
on.
give that much.
Yeah, I don't think
That's
you
Yeah,
a
have to give
lot.
away much,
Whoa,
LBL.
LBL, that's holy.
But
Whoa.
but
LBL
I
wants to keep
You
the
gave
picks,
the
though.
farm
LBL's
out,
trying to keep the
LPL. Nah,
picks.
you don't have to give that
I'm
much.
trying to keep picks. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah,
but
doing.
come on. 4
you're
contracts?
gonna you're gonna give up. They need contracts. Zion makes a lot of money, and they're not
Yeah,
gonna pay him going forward. So you could not only get Zion, you probably could sign him on the cheap right now. The problem is the player. Zion in New York with a new contract in his pocket, not having to earn one, that's dangerous. That's
it
It
dangerous.
is.
is,
But
but
you
like
could get Zion he's on the dollar right now. You can't.
New Orleans is a hell of a city. I don't know if you guys have ever been to New Orleans. It's one of my favorites. It's not New York, I understand, but all of the trouble that you can get into in New York, you can easily get into New Orleans too. It's a fun city. Great
It
food.
stinks though. I don't know if you smelled it. It smells pretty bad down there.
Those are like my 2 favorite cities, like New York and New Orleans. Like I
The
love both
food
those
is
cities.
amazing though. Like
It's
it's not the
amazing.
same.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
But I would
Uh,
say, that yeah. So the thing is, I would want to still see the thing that I would be worried about with making a Zion deal is then we'd probably give up our 26 picks, and we'd have no chance at that class, and so we
No,
just be stuck.
you don't have
No, we
to.
might give you a 26 pick for him. We'll give you a 27 and what? A 29, Gary? Well, I'll give you a 26 for Zion. I don't know how healthy that guy is
They could
yet.
give them a
Well, like
31.
if we got Zion, it changes the calculus because now you want shooters all around him. Now Cam Johnson becomes a piece. Like if you have Zion, Cam Johnson becomes a piece that you kind of want to have because you want to put shooters around him. So I would say they're more likely to trade Cam Thomas in a Zion trade. And I'm not advocating.
Ooh.
They're
Yeah.
more likely to put Cam Thomas in a Zion trade
Nah, it's
than.
the money.
I don't know.
Cam
For
Thomas
me,
doesn't make any money.
But he's
You got to
going to.
match
They're
those
gonna
contracts.
Yeah, next year, like he's a restricted free agent, so
yeah,
they're gonna sign and trade him. They're gonna give him the $28 million a year,
and
package that
then
with someone else, right? Because Zion only makes
so
about
you
40. It's
saying
not,
sign Cam,
and
and then take
then
him
trade
and
him.
Claxton, and a couple of picks and give them
Picks.
for. Yeah, I would do
I
that.
think
Cam
it's higher. It's more likely. I think they're going to draft the center. They're going to draft the center and a point guard this year, and I think it's more likely that they would combine Cam Johnson. It would explain why we kept him. They would They would combine Cam Johnson with Claxton, and some picks. It's going to be some picks, but we have 31 of them. Throw a bunch of seconds in there as filler, and you get back Zion and whatever you draft. I think I could see that happening. Like that, if you do that, then it makes sense why you kept Cam Johnson. Then you
Right.
have covered.
But
They
who
could
would be
throw
the
us.
secondary star though,
They could
Pa,
throw us
that
Jordan
Zion
Hawkins
could
too. I'll
recruit
take him
though?
as well.
The secondary star is Ace Bailey.
Yeah,
What if we get Harper though? I think Harper, if we draft him, the Zion move
You would
would
have
make more sense in
Zion.
my mind.
You would have Zion, Ace Bailey, and Cam Thomas.
But wait,
It's not a championship team, but it's the start of something, right?
No,
Like,
you
no
still
longer
have to
trash.
tank. You still have to tank no matter what.
I don't
You
know,
still have to
Pod.
How are
tank.
you tanking though? Like
You cannot pick above top. You got to get a top 5 next year. Because you want to
with
add
that
Cam
team.
Boozer, you want to add Darren Peterson, you want to add AJ DeBenza, you want to
Tell
add
him that
Nate
draft is
Met.
better than this one.
But we're not even
Stop.
tanking, Pod. Is the same thing that me and Gary are talking about. This year hasn't even been tanking. So if you get Zion, you're going to tell Zion, hey, Zion, just lay off the food, eat keto, and, throw a season of your career away. He's not going to do that. He's going to say, I'm going to go out there to the ball and prove that I still got something. That's what he's going to do. And my thing is this. If you
He's
get
on a
Zion,
team that's
who is
tanking now.
– yeah,
He's
but
on
if
a
you get
team that's tanking now that's better than ours.
Yeah, but if you get Ace though, and him and Zion gel well, you think that they're going to want to stop playing for a year to get another top guy?
Ace is not going to be a difference maker in his first year. It's that third year.
Yeah, but you got Jordy. That's the one thing I'm talking about, Pod. Look what Jordy's doing. He's taking the worst of
know.
spare parts. Now, if he gets a Zion and an Ace, come on, let Ace bulk up for the summer with Jordy. Watch how different that guy's going to look in a year.
I'm not saying he's going to do it. I'm trying to make sense of why a 29-year-old with a 27 million. Why is that dude in the? Why is that dude still on our team?
It feels like they're trade assets.
We're trying to figure out a puzzle here.
It feels like Claxton and Johnson will be
on
traded
our
for
team still
somebody.
makes 0 sense.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this. If you're looking to get rid of Claxton, the Zion move makes 10 times more sense than the Giannis thing because you're going to have to get another center. Are we going to go to Miles Turner? If you get Giannis, who knows what that's going to be. But at least if you trade Claxton, you can maybe get a center on the cheap in the draft or something like that you just mentioned. If we could get a center in this draft and maybe a point guard or a forward and Ace and Zion, now you have pieces to an actual puzzle. But do we trust Marks to actually do this is the thing.
Moving forward, maybe Pod or not, Pete probably would have known, but maybe Pod knows this. But moving forward, I don't think guys like free agency guys are going to get the kind of money that they've been getting. Not the veterans like the Miles Turner and all them. They're not going to get their old market value. They're going to have to settle.
Can I say something? The Warriors giving Jimmy Butler 60 mil.
Oh my God, that's insane.
It's over. It's over. That shows that stinks of desperation. These teams
that's the problem. That's part of the problem with the CBA. And when you touched on it earlier, I was saying that. See, that is probably what was the guy that we had that went down to New Orleans? Garrett something. Garrett Temple. That was probably the problem that he had. Because remember, he had a little bit of a problem with some of the more star guys. And the thing is, they didn't have enough rank and file guys. They had too many stars who were being the VPs, and the VPs are only looking out for themselves. So that's why because realistically, these guys like Jimmy Butler and Kevin Durant and LeBron, they should be retiring and giving the game over to the younger guys.
That was disgusting. How do you cause a stink like that for 3 to 4 months and your reward is you get $60 million? Look at Jonathan Kuminga, a kid who finally, before I got hurt, was showing all that potential, and now you might have to settle for a lesser deal because they're 83% near the tax just because Jimmy's making 60 mil along with Curry and Draymond. So we can tell Kuminga, you did a great job that few games, but I can only give you $20 million. That's just disgusting.
That's the new CBA showing you what it is. If you are a player in the middle, you're not getting paid.
Yeah, and I saw this story before.
The middle class totally got squeezed out here.
When we saw this story before, it kind of reminds me back in those David Falk days, like once Ewing became a VP and everything. Remember how they changed the rookie salary thing because they said, no, you can't be giving all this money to a Sean Bradley because he's the #1 pick. Instead, let us stars get all the money. Let us stars get 80% of the money, and everybody else is getting peanuts. And then that's why they couldn't afford. That's why they couldn't afford to get Ewing a second star and stuff like that because he was eating up all the money. And now it's sort of like the same thing. But now these guys, like Kevin Durant says, "Oh, I don't want to be traded from Phoenix," but he also doesn't want to retire. It's like, man, if you tell me I can score, if I can average 27, his career average is 27. He was averaging 27.5. If you're telling him I could do that for the next 4 or 5 years, and become like in the top 3 in scoring, I'm gonna do that, and especially for $50 million. He's making 198. He's in the third year of 198 million. There's no way that that's how it should be, but they don't want to give any of the younger guys money, man.
That's wild. If I'm Kaminga, I'm walking to another team just because he was probably worth what, Gary? You said maybe like a $30 million salary when we talked about it a few months ago. Now they're going to tell him you can only get 20 mil now because Jimmy, has got a $60 million option. Like, come on.
Well, Kaminga's gone. I think the writing's on the wall. He's not. They can't give him 30 to $40 million.
He can't.
My guess is
but nobody can. Nobody can give him that money.
Nobody, or the Nets can.
The Nets can. We actually have the most to give it to them.
The Nets are one of 2 teams that can. And would they? Would they give Kuminga that money? I don't think so.
Yeah, I think so. Sean Marks is going to do something this offseason. It might be Kuminga. Like I'm just be prepared.
I think knowing Sean Marks and his love for things that are broken, Sean Marks will pick a player that's hurt and sign him and think he's getting him at a premium because he could fix them. He always thinks he could fix players. Sean Marks loves superstars, big names. He made the D'Lo trade specifically to keep the building packed.
Disgusting. Just disgusting.
Right? He didn't do it as basketball strategy. He doesn't plan for D'Lo to be here going forward. He took him back in a trade just to use some member berries and sell nostalgia and keep the tickets selling. Not for a player. They will sign someone like Zion. If it's not Zion, they will sign someone like Zion that'll get everybody hyped, that'll create a layer of stands in our discourse. It won't be Nets fans alone. It'll be Zion sandwiches or whatever they call themselves. and that's what he typifies. He's not gonna go get and give unless it's something he's adding to Zion. He's not going to get
there's nothing you can add to Zion. Let me make one thing clear. As friendly as that contract is, it's just about as much weight that you could put on as Zion Williamson at any given time. Zion Williamson on $10 million a year is bad, bro. Like there's nothing to be discussed here. So I just want to say
Zion
that
right now.
24.
Zion is
24. He turns 25 this year. He's still
24. Zion is 24 with a 42-year-old systematic metabolism, bro. I don't know, bro. Like what do you want? What do you want here, bro?
I want to bring this question to the panel.
Bad.
Right?
All right.
I want to bring this question to the panel. Right now, we know last year Sean Marks tried to get into the 10 seed to be in the play-in, right? He wouldn't trade Finney Smith. He wouldn't trade Cam Johnson. He traded for Schroeder, right? He tried to be the 10th seed. Right now, you look at the playoff situation. The play-in teams, Hawks and Chicago, both don't want to be there. They both want to lose. Philly, who is also ahead of the Nets, wants to lose, it seems like. Because if they get a top 6 pick, they get to keep it. The Nets would be the next team. If all of these teams tank, and I'm not saying it's a good idea, I'm asking you, does Sean Marks think that he can get himself into the play-in, thus making him look like a genius because he got this team into the play-in? Is that I'm being serious. Do you think that he's calling off the tank, letting and bringing back Cam Thomas, Cam Johnson, and trying to get into the play-in, seeing the teams ahead of him don't want that spot? John, I'll start with you.
Given the way how clueless he's been, that's probably what he wants to do at this point. Because if he gets to play and he can justify, look what I did with spare parts. And let's remember, Cam Thomas is on the cusp of returning, and the way he's played this season, him, Johnson, and these other guys, the way they're playing for Jordy, they can do it, especially if the 76ers and the Bulls just give up. Now, that could probably screw our draft odds, but I think Marks doesn't even care about the draft. I think he's focused on getting a big superstar, whether that's this summer or a year from now. That just seems like the focus. And that's just so disgusting because why did you trade the Suns picks back? Look at the Suns right now. They're ready for an imminent divorce. Kevin Durant just got backstabbed. He's not staying with this team this summer. Booker's going to, and then Beal, they're going to send him to Bahamas. So we could have had their picks, and we could even made it easier to consolidate pieces. But we have our own picks back, and he doesn't care about our own picks. So if he wants to go in the play-in, good luck, Sean. Half the Nets fan base wants you gone. So keep making that case for yourself at that point.
Pod, is it possible that Sean Marks is looking at this saying the teams ahead of us don't want to be in the play-in, that I can get to the 10 seed, and he's got Cam Thomas coming back, he's got Cam Johnson, he's trying to get to that 10 seed to be the last play-in team. Is it possible?
Wow, that's one of the scariest things that I've heard all day. Like I've heard really bad things that could potentially happen. That's fucking scary.
Sean Marks likes to be right. He likes to be right. So, like, look,
but who's gonna say that Sean Marks was right if he does this? Who's gonna look at making the play-in as a beneficial to the team's growth when 95% of the players that's on this team is going to be gone?
Stay tuned. Stay tuned for other podcasts. That will be it.
No, you want an answer, Pod Thorn? It's Joe Desai. Remember what he said when Katie and the others went? I said, I'd rather have a team that busts their ass being a 500 or mediocre team because at least then they're keeping the fan base engaged in what we're doing. So if this is what Joe Desai wants, okay. It doesn't make any sense.
I'm so confused by this dude. It's like one moment I think there's San Antonio where San Antonio knew all they had to do was tank. The NBA was going to give them down. Give them down shit. Talk about an old
Wemby.
Wembanyama. They knew. We knew. Everybody knew. It was like the worst kept secret. And the way Sean Marks is acting, if he was smart, if we had a past history to think that he's smart, I would think he knows. Like, why has he been to Rutgers 5 times? If he's trying to make the plan, there's no way the NBA can give an Atlanta do what they did with Atlanta last year twice. The probability is impossible.
And PT, that's one of the reasons why, bro. Like I've been saying, bro, we gonna get what we want out of this draft, no matter what. Washington
But
and
the Nets
Utah,
have to
bro.
do
Like
their part. The Nets can't get the play-in. And the NBA is rigged if 2 years in a row, a team picking in the top 3 made the play-in. The NBA is rigged.
I put it to you
probabilities
this
of that
way.
is like slim to zero.
I put it to you this way. This is how I can prove it's already rigged, bro. The back-to-back draft that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown was both picked third in. The draft was the order of those the first 3 picks was the exact same. Philly, LA, Boston.
Yep.
Boston got Brown the first
Big
year.
markets.
The very next year, Philly, LA, Boston. So please don't tell me about what's rigged and what's not rigged. They know how to set it up in order for certain teams to get what they want.
I
The
agree
Boston
with you. Why
Celtics
you
have
always at an antagonistic point frame? I agree with you, and then you go and say, "Don't tell me." Like, leave.
We know,
You're on
and
the
I
same
think we
side
all
here, bro.
have a feeling that the NBA draft is rigged, right? Like we all kind of have that inkling. Like, yeah,
it's rigged. Yo, when LeBron, but the team that they're rigging it for has to do their part. Spurs did their part to get Wemby. Cleveland did their part to get LeBron. The NBA is like, I got you. I'm gonna give you the guy, but you got to make it look good for me. And the Nets not doing that, man.
You know who's a threat to get Cooper Flag, and I think Dylan might be right. The Charlotte Hornets. Look what they just did. They just gave away Mark Williams, who could have been one of their future building blocks, away to make the Lakers a championship team. I mean, think about this: LeBron and his son celebrating a championship win. How much ratings that's going to get everybody who doesn't really care?
Yeah,
But at the end of the day,
and
look what
the
the
NBA
Hornets are
could have
doing.
bought them
They
with
just
Cooper Flag.
played chess today.
The
The
NBA,
Hornets.
look,
You
I
know
think
what?
the NBA wants to put Dylan Harper in Chicago, where his dad played. His
Wow.
father be making little comments.
Mm-hmm.
Now Chicago is tanking. They traded away everything. They did the smart thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Nets know
Mm-hmm.
that they're gonna get Ace Bailey. I
Yeah.
think it's written in stone. I don't know. Don't say that that's what's gonna happen. I'm not saying that's what's gonna happen. But if I'm looking at all the tea leaves, all the maneuvering, you know what I'm saying? Sean Marks has been to a Rutgers game 5 times. He's never gone to see Cooper. They said he was going to go to see Cooper. I watched the game. I DVR'd it so I could look at it after. He didn't go. He didn't go. He's been to Rutgers 5 times. And each time they knew he was coming and announced it on their Twitter.
So, Lee, let me ask you this: Why do you think it's Ace and not Harper?
Because
You think Harper's going to the Bulls?
I think Ron Harper let the cat out the bag, and I think they want him to go play where his dad played. The NBA is trying to make it become a ratings bonanza. They can't do nothing about OKC. OKC is going to be a good team, but if your finals is OKC and Cleveland, you're fucked.
I'm I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that about making it become a ratings bonanza because, like I looked at that Charlotte trade to LA, and I said to me that felt like ESPN made that trade.
Thank you. I
Yes.
looked at
And
that trade. I said, "You got to be." Williams is
and
already a
it's almost
borderline
like
I think
all-star
that
like
trade is
10
more
guy.
egregious than the Luka trade.
I
At least
agree.
you got back an
and
All NBA player for him.
and
But
if you look at like I don't really watch it. I only see it like I guess the repeats on YouTube. I don't watch it live anymore because I can't stand the people on there anymore. But when I used to watch NBA Today, it's like they're kind of like the way what Stephen A. Smith show used to be. It's like 40% of the time you must talk about the Dallas Cowboys. So
yep,
40% of the time you must talk about the LA Lakers. And this is even when they were stinking. So it's like whatever they do, you have to talk about the LA Lakers. So I feel like this trade was made because there's no way Charlotte says, "You know what? We're going to give up," especially for a guy that's only played 85 games in 3 years. There's no way that you just don't sit him and let
even
him
if you
rest
don't
and
like
still,
him,
yeah, you just still
LBL,
tank.
even if you don't like him, you're not
Yes,
trading a 23-year-old
yes,
who's averaging a double to help them win the championship. They
yes.
gave LeBron the very best. They filled a massive hole in that
A
team.
five-time All NBA guy.
You,
You know
That's
you know
why
what I'm
they
saying?
did
The
regardless,
that?
Luka team, the
and
Luka
that's
trade. I don't
regardless
care
of
what
what.
nobody says. Fiscally, and because it's not just about what Luka meant, what Luka's value is in the NBA. It's about
Yeah,
what Luka's value is in Dallas.
yes,
Dallas, Texas. You live in Texas, right, Gary?
Yes,
and
sir.
I have before.
I
Yeah,
my wife is from Austin.
I was wondering that. I love it. I love it. There you go.
Right? If you know Dallas, Dallas. Oh, Dallas grew up on dirt. They
Yep.
love foreign, jump shooting, scoring. Got like this is the perfect guy for that culture. And they took him and they traded him like it was nothing for a 31-year-old. That never you
Well,
never trade 25 for 31. Never.
there's more to it than that. The owners of the Mavs, the Adelson family, wants to bring gambling to Texas. That's why they bought the team. They've already bought the land in Irving where the Cowboys used to play, where they have 108 acres, where they're going to build a stadium, a casino, and a hotel, like a whole resort for the Mavs. Except gambling is still illegal, and in Texas. Like, there's
And
no
it's very
casino.
unpopular idea. They don't
Very
like it.
unpopular. They can't get it. They can't get it on the ballot even for a vote. That's how unpopular it is. They tried in 2021, 2023, it failed, and again in 2025, they're not putting it on the ballot.
So
As
she's
soon as
going
they
to
found
threaten to
out,
move the team.
you're going to move the team. You give us our casino, or we move the Mavs, right? And how do they move the Mavs? They make him irrelevant. How do you make him irrelevant? You trade Luka.
That's
You make
wild.
the trade
And here's another thing, Potter. Why would Hornets give away one of their potential building blocks? His name is Cooper Flag. By doing this, by giving the Lakers exactly what they want and having LeBron have that moment with his son when they win the NBA title, because that's all about ratings, right?
Yep.
They get a shot now to be top 3 potentially. Imagine Jeff Peterson in his first year does a way better job than Sean Marks by selling out to the Lakers, and guess what he gets for it? Cooper Flag. And what do we get with Sean Marks? Oh, we get Con Knipple, number 9. Imagine how bad, you know how pissed off the fans will be at that point
But
if
I
Jeff
don't think
Peterson, the
I don't think they
assistant
would do
coach,
that.
outmaneuvers him.
The NBA would love to have it where when the Nets and the Knicks play, that it's a big deal.
Yep.
Like right now, it's not a big deal. Right now, the Knicks are good, and it doesn't even feel like it really. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna let us get Ace. It's gonna be a part of this whole ratings soap opera entertainment thing that they're gonna create, because like I said on the night that the trade happened, the Lakers are too big to fail. They had to do this, and they can't have a team in the largest market that's not generating ratings for the machine. So they're gonna throw us a bone. We play ball. Then Joe Tsai has played ball with the NBA long before these other teams. During COVID, he did what was told. During they wanted to hire
He went
Ime.
international. He went international.
Right. So all of the things, he's played ball. The Nets are acting like they know exactly what player they're going to get. But the one thing with the number 1 overall is either going to be Utah or it's going to be Washington. Or it's going to be Charlotte or something like that.
Yeah, I was thinking Charlotte. They can keep Cooper in North Carolina.
I
Keep him
think
in the
I
same
think it's
market.
you. I think it's Utah, bro. Listen, at
Could be
best,
Utah.
I see us getting from 3 to 6, bro. Like in this draft, bro.
You
Like
know
at
what
the
I
most,
feel
bro.
like with
Like
Charlotte? You know what I feel like with Charlotte? Like they
they
want.
not throwing Charlotte a bone, bro.
No,
Like
I'm
they
saying
not
I
doing
think
that.
they
I mean,
want.
they just gave away Mark Williams' leave to make the Lakers a potential
No,
championship
but
team.
you know
Yeah,
what
You
they're
I
don't
think
think
getting
they might
about
paid,
get
But
and
something
but
big
that
they're
out
don't
of
but
they're
that
it?
gonna
don't
get
mean
rewarded for that.
but that don't mean that no. Here's the
but
thing,
you know
because
what I think.
they still gotta reward Utah for trading away Spider and Rudy Gobert. They still ain't get a
Oh
top
no,
5
that was
pick
for
out of
them.
that.
That wasn't for the league. The league don't care about what happens to
Exactly.
other teams.
But you know
It
what I
wasn't for
think.
the league.
But Leaf, here's the deal with Charlotte. I think that they would get everything that they would want, including the number 1 pick, if number 23 would just sell the team. I think they hate him as an owner. They don't
He
want him
sold
to be the
already.
owner.
He sold
He
already.
sold it.
Jordan already sold. Yeah, it's
Jordan
a new
sold
owner.
2 years
So
ago.
then
Yeah,
that might be it then.
yeah,
Yeah, he
So
sold
that
2
might
years
be the
ago.
reward. That might be the reward because
yeah. But
Silver doesn't like him.
Nah, Jordan had debt. He
Yeah,
like there's a whole article about it. It's sad. The guys who own the team now,
yeah.
he owed them money. The
Okay.
the the loan came due and he couldn't pay. And they did a swap of the team. The guys who bought the team used
Yeah.
to work for Jordan.
Or yeah, got you.
Google that. It's a crazy story, man. It's a crazy story. Very
Well, he
sad
is a
too.
degenerate. He's not just your favorite gambler, Gary. He's a degenerate gambler.
You got that right. You got that right.
He sure is. He can't help it. The competition is his drug.
Yeah.
hey, you know
So
what? Why don't we talk about the trade deadline? Who won and who lost? When we go around and talk about some teams we felt won and some teams we felt lost. If you guys want to do that as a segue.
I just want to address this,
I
guys.
yeah.
Anyone have any? They said the asking price for Cam Johnson was Keldon Johnson, my buddy, and 2 Atlanta Hawks future first round picks.
Yeah.
That's one
Yeah.
too many picks.
God dang, like he's
It's
not.
only
Kelvin Johnson is a better basketball player than Cam Johnson 1-to-1. Like, what are you doing?
Just give me the
Like,
Hawks pick. The Hawks are selling today. Give me that
if you
first Hawks pick,
if you
and we're
can get
good.
one pick, that's a steal
Yeah.
and a half. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, he's
Yes.
waiting for he's the girl that's a 4 that's waiting for the quarterback to go ask him to the prom. It's not going to happen. You're not worth it. Like, it's not going to happen.
You
Two
play
picks?
too hard to get, you don't get got.
Yeah.
You know, and even if we get Ace Bailey, what are the next moves? Ever since Sean Marks stayed on his team, every season has been a discombobulation. Every year we look forward. We don't even look forward to anything anymore. We look forward to a mess after a mess after a mess. And the NBA owners don't respect this guy. I don't care if there's a deal in place to get Ace Bailey. The owners, like you said, they all steal from Sean Marks. They take whatever they want. And Marks likes to act like he's the big man on campus because he's got Cam Johnson. They just showed you we don't care about Cam Johnson if you care about his price value. We know what he's worth, but you don't. And that's the problem that's got to change with front office management. And Joe Desai's just watching, say, "Good job, Sean. You didn't give in." Well, we're screwed ourselves, but I'm happy you're happy, Joe. I'm very happy you're happy. It's insane. This is insanity.
They have to steal. They have so much making up to do, but they're gonna find a way to find a shiny toy or the shiny object to wave in front of. That's why I'm really starting to believe the Zion stuff, because it's the shiny object that makes us go, oh, everything is all right. We got a superstar now. We love Zion. Yes. And let a top 3 pick come through the door. There's people who are fighting with me and mad at me, cursing me out in the chat and on Twitter because I want to tank. Like, imagine how they're saying we have Cam Johnson and Cam Thomas. We could compete with that. We could build on that. No, you can't. You can't build on those players. But now imagine how they're gonna act if we have Zion and Ace Bailey.
It's going to be an NBA media circus. They can ask every day, did Zion eat a burger last night? Why did he have barbecue sauce on his T-shirt? Like it's going to be a joke again. And that's the unfortunate thing of going that route
Bro,
potentially.
like listen, bro, look, I listened to all the predictions about us going some of the most silliest and stupidest past, being that we have the most silliest and probably the most silliest and stupidest GM in basketball, probably in sports. But at the end of the day, I think with this GM in place and with teams and with certain players or certain free agents still in the need of money, 25, $30 million a year, however much they getting, I still believe that one of these upcoming drafts, listen, it's a lot of shit sandwiches that's about to be made in these next couple of years, bro. I've grown to accept that, and I'm not gonna bite my head off about this all day long, man. We gonna sit up here for days and days on Twitter talking about, bro, like how the GM and the front office is screwing us over.
But
But in
Pop,
the end, bro, like I still believe, bro, like look, before this life is over, bro, like we will all be on
I hope
Atlantic
you're right.
Avenue.
I hope you're right, Leaf. But you
Yeah,
know
we
what I
hope
was
you're
going
right, Lee, but
Let
who
part
me
of the
let me
knows?
ask
problem.
the let me ask the
Part of the
panel. Let me
problem
ask the
with the
panel a
fans.
question. Who do you think who do you think the Pelicans are gonna get more for? Zion or Brandon Ingram? We know what Brandon Ingram got is.
They already got Brandon Ingram is already in Toronto, so like I
I
mean
know, but
that question.
you're not understanding the question, Lee.
He's saying, will they get
Are
more?
they gonna get more? Are they gonna get more for Brandon Ingram? We know what haul they got yesterday for him. Are they gonna get more than that for Zion? That's the question to the
I
panel.
think they will.
If I
They
had
I
got
to
think
say, they're going
it was Bruce Brown
with.
and a first and a second, right? That's what that's
I
and
think
Kelly Olynyk,
they
and they got Kelly Olynyk, Gary. They got Kelly Olynyk and Bruce Brown.
that's a
if I put it
horrible
to,
haul for Brandon Ingram.
Yeah.
that's not.
My
What
God.
y'all
I don't
thought
think that's a.
Brandon Ingram was?
I don't think that's a horrible haul for Brandon Ingram. I think that's a good enough haul in this trade deadline for
Yeah, he's a
Brandon
big
Ingram, bro.
free
Like
agent too.
if you traded him, yeah, but if you traded him in an off season and a signing trade and got a little bit more, they might have got a little bit more, which leads me to believe that they probably gonna get more for Zion if they deal him in the offseason, because that's probably going to be one of the few trades that's going to get made.
And Zion
So
is
I,
fine.
I,
It's probably two
I,
firsts, and I would probably add a protection on the second first, given his health
But
situation. I'd want to at least make sure I'm not getting fully robbed here by taking on Zion. So
but
I would
I
say an
Pod,
don't think it's
unprotected
two.
and a
I don't think
protected.
it's two first. I think it's one.
yeah, I think it's one too.
I
But
think I
Pod,
think you could
I
get
want
him
to
for
address.
Claxton. I'm looking at what they need, right? They just, you know what I'm saying. I think you could get him for Claxton and Cam. I
But I want to address
especially
something that you said. If we ended up with Williamson and Ace Bailey, right? And then we're like, and like you're saying, like, well, imagine if we still tank, then the Nets fans will go crazy. You know what I contribute that to? I mean, I attribute that to just a New York big city arrogance
right,
because it's like, how can you act like maybe you have a short memory, but KD and Russell Westbrook were on the same team, and they still didn't win right away. It's like there are a lot of teams that had great players, still got another player, and then they still had to wait a little bit before they could actually get into the win column. And it's like sometimes you just have to do that. So that's what I'm saying. It's like the I don't want to wait because I'm in New York. I feel like that's not really like saying because we're in New York is an excuse. Like for me, I think that it's a sorry ass excuse because look how bad we've been for so long. And we've been in New York for like 10 or 12 years now. So don't
right.
act like, oh, because we're in New York, we can't possibly take a 3-year tank or a 2-year tank. And it's like, yes, we can. We just have to get better. And you act like the Knicks were the Knicks winning 50 games every year for the last 15 years? No.
We need proper management, unfortunately, LBL, and this doesn't even feel like a tank this year. So it just feels
they
like we're
just
waiting. We're
just
waiting
just to
till
let
summer.
just to let y'all know, the Tangerines stacked up a whole bunch of 60 lost seasons, bro, and they were still top three in revenue, bro. So I don't think
Yes.
that whole thing that don't really apply
That's what
about
I'm
us
saying. And
about
we're
being
top
important to.
and we're in
Yeah,
the top
I don't.
9,
Yeah, like
right?
the Lakers were during the time that Kobe tore his Achilles, all the way to before the Lonzo before LeBron got there. The Lakers were still top three in revenue. They were still a top three marketable franchise, bro. So none of that stuff really applies to the darlings of the first days to the 1946 children of the NBA, bro. The Celtics, the Lakers, and the Knicks are always going to be fine no matter what. They always going to be fine no matter what because they have been shit in the bed. We
That
seen them shit the bed before, bro, and them franchise still was able to hold afloat.
I
that
agree with
that's
you. That's
that's
that's why
it's
I don't
not
want
about
them to use
holding
the
afloat though.
excuse.
You
That's
got
why
it
I
fucked
hate
up.
when they use the excuse of where we're at so that we can't tank. Now, I
Yeah,
mean,
you guys are
Gary, I
talking about two
understand.
different
Gary, I
things.
understand. This is Jay, I understand. They just say, I don't like tanking. I just want to win. Right? I understand that. But other than that, it's a strategy. It's a short term strategy. It's like punting just so you could get the ball back. And that's what we're trying to do.
The only problem is it doesn't even feel like Sean wants to do that this season. It just felt like you want to get through this season any way possible. As long as we're not in the playoffs, as long as we're out of those seeds, but play in bottoms, or however you want to call it. It seems Sean doesn't care as long as we got through the season. But that's just so messy. Like you have a great coach, yes, but it's the moves that follow that. How are you going to build this thing? And just
Can
like
I
me, Gary, and the others have said, like his moves are just all over the place. You get the stars very easy. Then you want to keep Patty Mills over Bruce Brown's and you want to sign, of guys that are near the end of their careers, and it's like, geez,
and
we
can I
really speeded up the process.
and John, can I say this also? It's
Mhm.
it's a freaking boring ass team. It's corny. It's boring. I mean, like I'm used to being the little brother, as DFS said, right? I'm used to being the little brother, like when the Knicks were trying to win and blah blah blah. But I'm saying when I had Derek Coleman, when I had Chris Morris, when I had Kenny Anderson, Drazen Petrovic, at least I knew I had the best power forward in New York. I mean, in the metropolitan area. At least I knew I had the best 3-point shooter when I had drives, and they were
It was
exciting, and
fun to
they
watch
were
those
star.
guys grow. It's
That's what
not
I'm
fun
saying.
Yeah.
watching these guys out there because you know they're not a part of the future. It was
Yeah,
fun to watch Kenny Anderson grow, even though he stunted his own growth. It was fun.
yeah,
It was. Listen, there were teams where the Nets had Sam Cassell and Mookie Blaylock, and I wasn't even
yeah,
a Net fan then. I wasn't
yeah,
even a Net fan then, but they were fun to watch. They were more fun to watch than the Knicks.
yeah,
I tell you that honestly and truly. The Nets have always had young, exciting players, but they never had an owner that had the money to keep them together. They always would something
yeah.
would happen and they
They had the seven clowns of Sikorsky and stuff. Yeah, I remember. But that's what I'm saying. Like, but that's what I'm saying when it comes to this. When they're even if we were to make the 10th seed, this is ugly basketball. This is. I mean,
oh
Jordy may be doing his best, but this is ugly to watch. I mean, gosh. I mean, do I want to really see 40 freaking 3-pointers a night? No.
what
Do
about what about guys who
wants me to
can't
be a
dunk?
star on this team. No.
Only the centers can dunk on the team.
Ugh.
Only the centers can dunk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's ugly, man.
It's ugly,
But
man.
It's not even that. It's just, and then everybody's talking about this deflection that Tucson got to get the 0-3. I'm like, it was like an accident. I didn't think Tucson was expecting to deflect the ball. The ball just happened to graze his hand. And he's like, here, D'Lo. And everybody's like, yo, Tucson, that's my guy. Yo, we own the Tucson and Wilmot trade. Like, come on, guys. Like, calm down. D'Lo
I
just
want
screwed his potential out of top three.
You know what?
wait,
What it's
Pod,
good to
you
get a
got
guy
an
like
echo. Pod, can you refresh for me? You got an echo.
No, I'm
Does anyone else hear that?
I hear Electo just now.
The echo's gone, right?
Yeah.
No,
How am I on my end? You hear me clearly on my end?
I hear you clearly.
Okay.
John, is it your echo?
I don't hear an echo on my end unless you hear it from me. Do you hear an echo
John,
from me?
mute yourself real quick.
you're the one who's causing the echo, John. Mute up and then we'll see.
John, it's John.
John.
All
Just
right, all right,
refresh real quick.
all right.
Yeah. I wanted to ask this question. What direction do you think Marks is going to go? Is it going to be a tank for the rest of this year? Is it going to be a tank next year? Or is he playing to win every game now? I think he's playing to win every game. I think he's given up on the tank. And I don't think he's tanking next year. I think he's trading or signing an all-star caliber player and is going to try to be a playing team again next year. I don't see him having the patience to sit through another 25-win season.
Yeah, I think like what Pod said, if they give him Ace Bailey, I feel like the tank is over. He's like, okay, now I'm gonna make these moves. So that's gonna hurt our team. But
Yeah.
that's the problem.
He's
That's what
gonna
happens
skip
when you have a
steps.
bad GM. That's what
That's
happens.
what it feels like. It feels like he's going to skip steps, and this Giannis stuff ain't going to go away because he keeps saying he wants this guy because you know why? He's in peak physical condition, but you don't have the assets around him. You're relying on this guy to do what he's doing in the Bucks. If Giannis was on a different team, producing the numbers he's producing, that team is winning a title no matter what. But he's had to carry that Bucks team with an aging roster, and his numbers are not showing up in the results. So if we do the same thing here, and we have even worse talent, how is that fixing our issues? Even if we get Ace, so it's like, how do you trust Marks? Because he doesn't even know how to plan the right pieces around a team. It's let's throw this all together, and Giannis is just going to make it, magic. That doesn't happen with one guy. You go
Hey,
from three superstars to one guy, and Ace maybe if we get
is
him, but that
is
doesn't
there
guarantee
ever
But
anything
I don't
either.
understand why you guys trusted. You guys said we're going to rebuild. We're going to rebuild. Like we have Danny Ainge or Sam Presti, or even Landry Fields. What Landry Fields is doing in Atlanta is the right thing, right? Like you guys have that kind of confidence in Sean Marks that he can rebuild this thing?
No,
I
it's
don't.
hoping against hope. It's hoping against hope. But let me ask you: Is there a
I'm
real
hoping
world? Is
something
there a world where,
accidentally falls into his lap. That's
yeah?
what I'm hoping.
But is there a world where we draft Ace Bailey? He starts playing, decently, like maybe just to make the all rookie team. But then Giannis comes around and then he says, you know what? I'm going to give you Ace Bailey and some picks and Cam Johnson or whoever. I'm going to give you our all rookie player for Giannis.
No, they won't do that because Giannis is trading people right now. Giannis said after they traded uh his old running mate, he
Middleton.
said, yeah, and Brooke Lopez and some other names he mentioned, they're next too, and like 2 out of the 3 names are gone. Yeah, that's Giannis' team. Giannis brings billions of dollars into that city. He's not going anywhere. I can't see
That's a
it.
lateral move because Middleton is better than who he got traded for.
Middleton is a champion, but
Exactly.
Giannis, that's just showing you how much power Giannis has on that over that team. He
You don't
keeps
trade a
making them
guy that
make bad
won.
moves.
Yeah,
Trading Drew Holiday,
you don't
trading
trade a
Drew
guy that
Holiday
thinks
is
he's
one
a
of the
war.
worst decisions Milwaukee has made in their franchise history.
Yes,
He,
yes.
he gave he gave Boston a championship. That's a blunder. Like that's why NBA coverage is so bad. Giannis caused a blunder that gave a rival team, the team that they're competing against for championships, for finals appearances. They
No,
they
look,
gave
Todd,
that team for nothing.
let me.
The
I agree
linchpin
with
for
you.
winning.
Right? They got worse when they got rid of Drew. I agree. They didn't trade Drew to Boston. They traded him to Portland, who then traded him to Boston. Right? They didn't give
Right.
him to their rival. But when they got Dame, like rewind yourself, whatever that was, a year and a half ago, when they got Dame, didn't you think at that point? This is before Boston got Drew. Didn't you think? Because I did. Milwaukee was the favorite in the East.
No,
No, no, I
Okay,
no,
I
didn't.
did. All
no.
right,
I didn't because
I
I
thought Dame was overrated by then. I thought he was a washed up guy who just scored points, but he played no defense for the last 10 years and he was hidden. And I think that I thought that I thought he was just a name really by then.
yeah, I didn't like it when it
all right.
happened. I didn't like it when it happened. I just looked at it as what made they beat us, right? We were the best team. They beat us. What made them good? It wasn't that they didn't have a problem scoring. If they didn't have Drew Holiday to defend,
Right.
they get swept and they
Yeah,
don't win. Like let's say you swap in series versus the Bucks, right?
they
You
have
swap Drew
Dame.
Holiday for Dame even that year,
Who
you
wins?
still lose because the scoring part wasn't what was like Middleton was scoring fine. The scoring part wasn't the problem. It was the defense.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
And
guess
if you
you're right.
look at Boston, that's what got them over the hump.
And if
They
you
didn't
remember
have a problem scoring. They just needed an elite defense to get them over the top.
And if you remember, there were 3 destinations he wanted to go, right? I mean, well, 2 of them were Miami and Brooklyn, and I didn't want to trade that for Dame. I didn't want to trade our
Right.
assets for.
We would be
I kind
stuck if
of
we
thought,
traded for
No,
Dame.
I'm glad we did. And here's the thing, guys. If they lose the season, which I expect them to in the playoffs, Dame has a $60 million option this summer. If they pick that up, what are the Bucks going to do? It's just Dame, Giannis, Kyle Kuzma, Lopez. He's a free agent. I don't think he's coming back. So whoever you can find on the market to be a center
Giannis
and
said he's
whatever's
not
left
coming
of the
back.
bench. I think he's out
Yeah.
this summer. I don't think they're taking Dame's
No, Giannis
contract. I
said
think they're
out in the
trading him.
open he's gone. Giannis said it already.
He
He and
when he
last
say
night
that?
on interview, he said
When was this?
last night when they were asking him how he felt about the trade, he said it's sad, but it's a business. Brooke is going. Uh, uh, the other dude they traded is going, and the only person that didn't go out that he listed is Brooke, and Brooke is going to go as a free agent.
I think they're doing that. I think you have to trade Damian Lillard for something. I think you trade Giannis for the whole. And the only 2 teams that Giannis wants is Miami and Brooklyn. So if we get Ace, that's great. But I just think Marks is waiting for this moment to say, look, guys, I got Giannis and Ace. The future is now. But it's what's around it. And this market this summer is not promising to me as far as death pieces. So unless Marks has a plan B for that, why are we doing that move? But this is just what Marks wants to do. He wants to
but
get the
do you think?
superstar and then brag about it
But
like
do
he did
you
with
think
KD and
that?
Kyrie.
But do you think that if we have both choices, do you think that he would choose? Because he could give up way less for Zion than he has to for Giannis. Plus,
Mhm.
Exactly. It's the Spurs model, right? and this could be incorrect or this could be correct because they traded Luka. There was a moment in time in NBA history when Zion had more value than Luka. The only way you're taking Zion is if you're getting him for pennies or maybe 1 penny on the dollar. he you take him and you hope to rehabilitate him. That's what Sean Marks does. He's looking at that like his SGA type move. You see how OKC before, as they were drafting and they were tanking, they made the trade. They traded Paul George and they got back SGA. Probably one of the greatest trades in all time. And I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but Sean Marks is probably thinking, okay, I could grab this guy, I could get him for cheap, and then I could add, I know I'm getting this guy. Put them together,
I can see
voila.
Marks do that, but you know what the crazy thing is? We're in a fork in the road. You choose the
But if
guy
you
that can
get,
make your team.
John, before you say, if you get Giannis, then Ace is going. Ace is not staying. The third pick in the
Well,
draft or whatever you're picking in the draft is, even if it's not Ace, that's going for Giannis.
you also got Thomas, unfortunately, who me and Gary say would probably be a piece now. But here's the thing: you're stuck in a fork of road. Do you choose the guy who can maybe turn your team into a TMZ gossip column like Zion, or do you go for a guy like Giannis who will have complete control?
You
If he's
go
on this
for
team, he will have authority over Sean Marks. He will tell Sean,
Giannis is better, but Giannis
I
is
will
going to
tell you
be
exactly what to do."
31. How old
So
is Giannis? 32, 31?
no, yeah, Giannis is
And
30. He's gonna be 31 next year. He's
right,
30 right now.
if Giannis has a lot of miles on those legs, and Zion probably has equal considering how out of shape he's been. But the point is, in your mind, right? Are you gonna trade? Are you gonna trade the third overall pick for Zion? I mean for Giannis.
I wouldn't do it. That's why the Zion thing makes sense. But still, at the same time, we're wasting assets no matter what. So if we flush whatever we have to send, if it doesn't work out, his
So,
money's not guaranteed for 3 years.
so
But if it works out, hey, greatest gamble Sean
John,
Marks ever made. But a
Wait,
this is
lot of,
you
what
lot of
wait,
things
hang
there.
on, hang on. So the trade is just the number 3 pick. That's it for Giannis.
No. It's you gotta put assets with it, and it's gonna be more picks too.
No, I
But
can't trade. I can't
but the
trade any
number
more
three
assets.
overall is gonna be a part of the haul if you're trading for Giannis in the summer.
Giannis is
I,
more
I
money.
agree.
There's
If it is
more
the
stuff.
haul, I make the trade because Giannis is only 30. If I have to give up all my assets, now I'm just Milwaukee. Right now, I'm just
Yeah.
Giannis and nothing else. So no, I
Yes.
can't do that. Yeah.
And he has, and the other aspect of it is the pressure of winning. Zion can't demand, well, I wish we were winning, but Giannis can. Giannis has had a chip. He's been an MVP. So when things
Yeah,
start to go
there's no
awry,
tanking for
he's got
AJ
short
Debanter
patience.
if Giannis is here.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
got
that's
short
true.
patience. There can be no rebuild. There can be no lottery pick along with
Yeah,
Giannis.
if you get
Whereas,
Zion, the message to the fans is we're gonna bring this guy in. He's gonna be out. We're gonna keep him out just so that we could rebuild his body, his mechanics, all
yes,
bullshit.
yes,
We're gonna rebuild his lower body, his mechanics, so that he can stay healthy and play with us for 10 years. He's only 5. If we could fix him, and what they're gonna do is they're gonna get him on Ozempic. They're gonna run him. They're gonna
yeah,
run him through some drills.
That big.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And then voila, the next year they tank organically and they try to get AJ Debanter or Cam Boozer or someone like that.
No,
I've
I
been
mean,
saying this for a while. Risking it on Zion, I think, is the best move on the chessboard. If it doesn't work out, we suck anyway. We didn't have to give up that much to get him. I really think Zion is the best move here.
no.
Because
After
it's
everything that's
it's the
going on,
only thing
I
that
agree.
makes we just saved Sean Mark's job because it's the only thing that makes having Cam Johnson make sense. Because
right.
if you're holding him because you got to trade for a player that makes what 37, 40 million,
Yeah.
Zion makes a ton of money. So if you're trading for him, you're gonna have to throw a Claxton in there, throw a Cam Johnson in there, and then it looks good. You give him one of these draft picks down the road that looks the worst, and you throw a few seconds in there so that it looks like a lot.
Yeah.
In theory, it all works out, and just like Gary said, Sean
I'm
Marks has put
smarter
us
than
in
Sean
a
Marks,
hellish
though. That's the
situation, and
problem.
maybe the way to get out is to make a devil's bargain. But you would hope that we could rehab Zion's value and maybe get him back to what he used to be. But at the same time, it's like we finally getting off of Ben Simmons to go into the Zion pool. But if this is the
But
best scenario
he
where
thinks like this, though,
I know, but
John.
just to your point, though, Pato, if
This is the
we
guy
could save.
he signed Anthony Bennett.
Right. So, and my point to you is this: if we could save Ace and save Thomas until we're ready to make even bigger moves, I'm all fine with that because I don't want to give Ace or Thomas away for Giannis if we're just going to be stuck in the same situation we're in Milwaukee. At least with Zion, we have more options, right? We can see what we could do the following year and then even go after it more. So I'm open to it. It's just how are we going to get this deal done, and will Zion take it seriously? That's my only two things I'm on there at this
maybe we
point.
could sneak in Jordan Hawkins too.
Yeah, I like
Ooh.
Jordan Hawkins. Let's do that.
Okay,
I mean,
now there's a deal there potentially. If we could get something with Zion too, maybe there's something there
I don't
potentially.
I don't know if that's possible. But I will say this: a motivated Zion in New York City with a lot of eyes on him, famous people
Box
looking
off.
at him, and he
Box
fails
Right,
again.
right,
I don't think he wants that. I
right.
think I think the Nets have to. If the Nets was a smart organization, they were run by me, right? If Pod Thorne was the GM, it would just be
you
like
can
I'd
have. I
grab
hire
Zion.
you tomorrow. I can fire Marks and hire Pod Thorne.
Let's
Done. Done deal.
go!
Go.
I'd do that trade for Zion. I'd package Cam and Clax, who I don't want anyway. I'm hoping to draft the center with one of these other draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
I'd throw those two together with a couple of meaningless draft picks, and voila.
Done.
But then you would have to be a good organization that would have to grab a hold of a kid like Zion and say, like, look, this is the end of the road for you. You could either knock this out the park and have 10 great years as an NBA pro and great, or you could come here, eat sandwiches, and shit the bed. It's your choice. You could
All
either
right,
play
John.
in front of Rihanna.
I gotta wrap this up, guys. I gotta wrap
All right,
this up.
all
I
right.
gotta wrap this up.
Fun
Pod,
show
no
today,
doubt.
guys.
John,
Yeah.
LBL.
Great show.
Appreciate you guys. I'm gonna be out of town the next couple of days, so I won't be back till at least Sunday. So we'll get back Sunday, John.
Yeah, we could try for that if you want.
All right, I appreciate it, guys. Pod Thorne, LBL, John again.
All right, we got to
Appreciate
get you on more shows with us, so we'll definitely try to find you for some different times as well, man. And LBL is always welcome too. So great job, guys.
All
Thank you so
y'all
much.
got to do is just let me know.
All
All
right,
right,
appreciate you, Pod.
be well,
All right,
guys. Have a
Bye,
good one,
Mark.
everyone. Happy deadline.
Nothing happened.
Exactly.